In the headlines, Oshomole postpones presidential declaration as Nnamani joins race. Federal government appeals ruling against Nigerian killed in Ivory Coast. Bus-truck collision kills 2, injures many in Lagos. And on the foreign scene, Israeli forces raid Al-Aqsa Mosque, over 40 Palestinians injured. Hello and welcome to Trust TV News Update. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Now the news in detail. Former national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, Adams Oshomole, has postponed his public declaration for president, earlier scheduled for Friday, 29th of April. A statement by Victor Oshioke of Restructure the Change 2023 said the new date for the event will be communicated appropriately. The public declaration was billed to hold at the Cyprian Ekwesi Center for Arts and Culture, Area 10, Abuja. Oshomole would be contesting for the party's ticket against Bola Tinubu, Vice President Yemi Osinbajo, Minister of Transportation Rotimi Amechi, Minister of Labour and Employment Chris Ngige, and Governor Dave Umahi of Ebonyi State. Meanwhile, former President of the Senate Ken Nnamani has officially declared to run for the 2023 presidency under the ruling All Progressive Congress APC. The former Senate President made the declaration in a press conference held in Abuja on Friday. He said he will purchase the nomination forms in a couple of days. He said he is running in the 2023 election to help unite Nigeria, deepen democracy and rebuild the social and economic infrastructure of sustainable development based on production and fair distribution. And still talking politics, the national leader of the All Progressive Congress APC, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, has picked the nomination and expression of interest forms of the ruling party. The presidential aspirant picked up the 100 million naira forms in Abuja on Friday afternoon. Loyalists of the APC national leader picked up the forms on his behalf as Tinubu is currently on pilgrimage to Saudi Arabia. Although the ruling party has not zoned its presidency, most of those in the race are from the south. And national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Senator Abdullahi Adamu, says his party does not regret charging the exorbitant fees on its expression of interest and nomination forms for its political contenders. Senator Adamu spoke on Friday to newsmen at State House Abuja after meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari. Meanwhile, Abdullahi Adamu has presented Ekiti's APC gubernatorial candidate Abiodun Oyebanji to President Muhammadu Buhari. The president received the candidate in his office at State House Abuja on Friday, promising him full support.
I contested for the chairmanship, even for the Senate. All I paid was just a token. About 5 million, 10 million, including expression. When I wanted to be chairman, my colleagues also wanted to be chairman of the party during the days of Adam Oshomole and the like. They paid a token 500,000 naira. All right? Today, for me, just as an example, to contest for the national chairman of our party, I had to pay 20 million, to contest. Today, privileged to be the chairman of the party. The party is greater than me. The party has not made a decision, and I cannot preempt what the party decision will be. Mr. Abiodun Abayomi Oyebanji, who is the gubernatorial candidate of our great party, APC, in the forthcoming election of the 18th of June this year. We came to present him as a successful candidate after a very thorough, transparent primaries that was held in Ekiti, to present him as our candidate for Mr. President's blessing and for the President as the father and leader of our party to present him formally the flag of our great party, APC.
And the Rivers State PDP governorship aspirant, Farah Dagogo, arrested for allegedly mobilizing cultists to attack PDP State Secretariat, has been arraigned at a magistrate court in Port Harcourt. Chief Magistrate A.O. Amadi Nna, in his ruling, ordered the federal lawmaker to be remanded in police custody. The matter has been adjourned to the 9th of May 2022. Recall that Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike had him wanted for allegedly masterminding disruption of screening of aspirants for various elective positions at the Secretariat of the State Chapter of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, in Port Harcourt. And now to security matters, where residents of Magazu and surrounding villages in Tsape local government area of Zamfara State have fled their ancestral homes due to incessant attacks by armed bandits and mass abduction of people. Some of the locals were seen stranded by the roadside with their children, belongings and livestock. They vow not to return to the community until the security situation improves. Magazu community has been under bandits' attacks since last Monday, leading to the loss of lives and destruction of property. Meanwhile, the chairman of Langtang North local government area of Plateau State, Ubandoma Joshua Lavin, said the recent killings in Kanam local government area of the state would have been averted if the state government had acted swiftly on intelligence reports. Lavin, who spoke with newsmen at the Yakubu Gowon Airport, Jos, said the state government ignored his warnings that terrorists were already in the forests, mountains, hinterlands and camping in other places.
There are crashes already going on the plateau before my alarm. There's Basa Irigwe going on for a very long time where computers were killed, about 25 of them, isn't it? Such thing can be avoided. But because the government does not have, they don't care about life and property. All they care is when it happens, they want to take action. When it happens, you cannot protect, you cannot be proactive to prevent it before it happens. So in my own case, I must give it to the STS, who is Professor Ladiatro, who is very prompt always when I was still an active chairman. He calls for Security Council meeting with the local government chairman and give us information. And it's left for the local government chairman to go back and do their due diligence, which in the process of me doing my diligence, I discovered that those terrorists have even invaded our land. And when I discovered the I collaborated with the local security, and the local security confirmed it. But instead of the government to call me, where did I get my information from? They were busy debunking it. I have an evidence of how the people were migrated into our various territories from Wasi to dengue axis. I said it. They debunked it, but the security have the report. And the security now said, don't mind, let us continue to protect what we know. Now, 4 months later, Wasi was it. And after the 9 months now, both Christians and Muslims and everybody were near me in Canada. It's not about religion, it's not about ethnicity. It's about let us protect ourselves. Security is everybody's business.
Plateau State Commissioner for Information and Communication, Dan Manjang, said Lavin's claim were just figments of his imagination. The commissioner stressed that government had done a lot on security, pointing out that the attacks were not peculiar to Plateau State or the nation, but were a worldwide phenomenon. Over 150 people were killed and about 5,000 others displaced by terrorists who invaded 8 communities of Kanam. Meanwhile, Zamfara State government has arraigned the 2 deposed emirs at the State Chief Magistrate's Court, presided by Justice Saadu Garba. The first and second-class monarchs were arraigned on a 5-count charge, bordering on criminal conspiracy, withholding of evidence, illegal possession of property, and alliance with bandits. Counsels to the 2 emirs objected to the jurisdiction of the Chief Magistrate Court to entertain the case, citing Law No. 7 of Zamfara State 2019, which stipulates that all persons who proclaim Islamic faith cannot be tried at the magistrate court except a Sharia court. The case was thereafter transferred to the Upper Sharia Court 1, Samaru Gusau, where the presiding judge, Justice Hadi Sani, listened to the application for bail by defense counsels. The presiding judge granted the 2 monarchs bail on health grounds and age, since they have been in detention for about 10 to 11 months.
by the Director of Public Prosecution and the prosecutor of the court. He heard the charges and they were read to them. They, as usual, really, normally they vehemently denied all the charges against them and they proclaimed their innocence. Thereupon, we applied for their bail. We informed the court that they've been in detention for more than 10 weeks now, without being with their family, without being with the people who are dependent on them. And considering their age-wise and their health, we moved that application. Though the DPP objected to our application on some grounds, he really challenged the law under which we can, because we come under Section 201 sub 2 ABC of the Sharia, the Present Sharia Criminal Procedure Code. He challenged that. However, the judge, in his own wisdom, agreed with us. He saw that having spent 10 months without being charged before any court, without their family, with their age and their health, he saw that really they should be ventured back. And he was convinced by our argument that none of them being the emir, like the emir of Sado, he was appointed on July, on the 23rd of July 2000. He spent 22 years on the throne. The emir of July, later than that. There is no way they could jump in. There could no way they could leave their people. He is leading an emirate of more than 1.something million. There's no way he can leave his family of 30-something and leave his emirate. So the court agreed with us that really they should be there. So they even have made it. In the next session now, the case is adjourned to the 26th of May. Subject to the convenience of the court and all the council, we agreed that we should be on here so that we can start bringing their evidence.
The federal government has expressed its commitment to continue to pursue justice for a 21-year-old trader, Itunu Babalola, who was wrongfully jailed in Ivory Coast and died in custody in November 2021. The Minister of State Foreign Affairs, Zubairu Dada, spoke during the 36th session of the State House briefing held at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. The minister, while reacting to a question on the matter, said although the judge ruled that Itunu was culpable, the federal government has appealed the ruling and expressed hope that justice will be done. In his address, the Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Gabriel Aduda, said Nigerian students whose programs were interrupted by the Russia-Ukraine conflict will continue their studies online and physically in other universities who have offered admission to students who wish to continue elsewhere.
The only recourse we have as a nation and as a responsible nation is to go to court, to go back to the same court and appeal. And this is precisely what has happened. We have gone to court to appeal that judgment. And it was in that process that this lady, unfortunately, they said, fell sick and died in custody. Again, we have insisted that an autopsy be done on the corpse, which I guess was also done. And we are also raising issues where we are not fully satisfied. We are raising issues with the appropriate authorities to ensure that justice is done. So even in death, we are not leaving the matter to go. We are still pursuing the appeal in court, and because that is the only resort that we have. We cannot take the laws into our hands. In Ivory Coast, we can only, whether they jail her wrongly or rightly, it is their law, which we have to respect. We have no choice over the matter. And again, diplomacy is the only way to go. Reciprocity, it has not gone to the level of reciprocity, because I don't know how we even set about applying the principle of reciprocity in a matter like this. But like I said, we have made all the noises, and at the right places. We have complained, and we're still complaining. We're insisting on justice, that justice be done for this lady who died in detention.
You're watching Trust TV News Update. Still to come after the break. Tackling open water threats in Kano. This and more after the break. Do stay with us. Welcome back, and thanks for staying with us on Trust TV News Update. Now look at our top stories. Oshomole postpones presidential declaration as Nnamani joins race. And federal government appeals ruling against Nigerian killed in Ivory Coast. And moving on to other news now, 2 persons have been confirmed dead in multiple accidents involving 6 vehicles along Ikorodu Road, Lagos. It was gathered that the victims were returning from Mile 12, where they had gone to buy goods when the accident occurred around 2 a.m. on Friday. Daily Trust learned that 2 persons, a man and a woman, died on the spot, while one of the corpses was taken to a morgue by the Lagos State Environmental Health Monitoring Unit. The Lagos Territorial Head of the National Emergency Management Agency, Ibrahim Farinloye, who confirmed the accident, said family members of the second victim came to the scene to carry the corpse. And President of the Nigeria Police Officers' Wives Association and wife of the Inspector General of Police, Hajia Hajara Usman Al-Ali Baba, was in Anambra State with other members of the POA National Executive on a working visit and routine humanitarian tour. Baba, who spoke to members of POA, outlined her threefold focus for the association, which she listed as health, welfare and education of police officers' wives and children. Receiving the IGP's wife, the governor of Anambra State, Chukwuma Soludo, commended the patriotic disposition of the officers' wives, despite the risks to their husbands' lives as security operatives.
To bring out my women any state I go, so that they will know that the IGP have their interest at heart. They are not left behind, especially the wives of the fallen heroes of the force.
Of Nigeria as well, to thank and commend you for bearing the greater pressure. That's why the guy is out there. So you don't have the bigger pressure. You don't know the pressure that you go through. Because being wife of police officers must be quite a very must be going through quite a lot of pressure.
The Kano State Ministry of Environment is collaborating with local government authorities to provide a permanent solution to the threats of open water and ponds across the state. Now, this follows reports that several people, mostly children, have drowned in many ponds across the state. Idris Jibrin has been following the development and now reports.
Open water or ponds can be found in many parts of Kano metropolis. These places serve as a major hotspot where children with little or no experience on how to swim pass time. The ponds are also threatening the environment.
Some of those open waters, they used to be places where people dump waste indiscriminately. And unfortunately, these open waters, some of them, they recharge our wells. So you see there will be a source of pollution. The water in our wells will be contaminated and many other environmental challenges that are posed by these open waters.
Out of the 113, the number of people dead in that case is 98 people lost their life out of 113.
Virtually on daily basis, children are being reported to have been drowned to death while swimming or fishing in many of these ponds across Kano.
I know this open water for many years and it kills people on an annual basis. At least every year, 10 to 17 people died here. At lowest, we may record like 8 to 9 deaths. I know this place long before the water started killing people, because we do come here for sand excavation. Now there is lot of water, but honestly it's killing people regularly, from 10 to 15. In fact, I had witnessed several incidents where dead bodies are recovered here.
In order to reduce the number of accidents around these open waters, the state government is putting a collaborative effort that will also involve the participation of local community, vigilante groups, and other security agencies.
have studied the situation at the level of Ministry of Environment, and part of what we have recommended is to reclaim those places. While those that are too large to be reclaimed, we are collaborating with Ministry for Local Government to ensure that we have a sort of fencing around those places so that human beings, especially children and animals, will not fall into those waters. And it will also prevent people from throwing waste into those waters.
Although some of these open waters are being filled up, it is however expected that the state government intervention will be immediate and permanent. Idris Jubrin, Trust TV News, Kano.
And on a sad note, Kano-based billionaire, hotelier and owner of famous Tahir Guest Palace, Tahir Fadlallah, has died in Beirut, Lebanon on Friday morning. Age 78, the famous hotelier was flown to Beirut 2 years ago following COVID-19 complications. He left behind a wife and 5 children. According to sources, he said in his will that he should be buried in Kano. He was born on February 5, 1948 in Beirut, but moved to Kano with his parents when he was 2 years old. In May 2020, he was honored alongside 81 other notable individuals by Kano State Government for his contributions to the development of the state. Now for a look at the foreign scene, where Palestinian Red Crescent says at least 42 Palestinians have been injured in a raid by Israeli police forces on the Al-Aqsa Mosque compound in occupied East Jerusalem following weeks of violence at the Flashpoint site. The unrest came on the final Friday of the Muslim holy month of Ramadan. Most of those injured suffered upper body injuries and 22 people had been taken to hospital. Israeli police said forces entered the compound after rioters hurled stones and fireworks, including down towards the Western Wall, the sacred Jewish site below the Al-Aqsa. Police said 3 people had been arrested, 2 for throwing stones and 1 for inciting the mob. And now a quick look at sports, where tennis star Boris Becker has been jailed for 2 years and 6 months for flouting the terms of his 2017 bankruptcy. The 54-year-old was earlier this month found guilty of transferring hundreds of thousands of pounds from his business account and failing to declare a property in his hometown of Lyman in Germany. The former men's world #1 and 3-time Wimbledon champion was also convicted of hiding a £825,000 bank loan and £75,000 worth of shares in a tech firm. It followed a trial at Southwark Crown Court in central London on charges under the Insolvency Act. And that wraps up Trust TV News Update for this hour. Don't forget, you can subscribe and follow us across all our social media platforms. I am Ibrahim Yusuf. Thanks for joining us.